Men of Omega, we're marching on. Men of Omega, we're all for 10,000 strong. Men of Omega, we raise our voices high. For Omega we live, for Omega we give, for Omega Psi-Phi we live and die. My name is Franklin Jefferson Henderson. I was born on the 12th of December 1929 in the city of Miami, Florida. Well, I started elementary school at Frederick Douglass Elementary School in Miami, and I graduated from Booker T. Washington High School, class of 1947. After graduation from high school, I worked for about 3 months, and then I went to college.
And where did you pledge at?
Beta Sigma Chapter, Southern University. There were 13 brothers in my line. I was introduced to the fraternity really while I was in high school, but I didn't know it was a fraternity except that in my senior year, the local chapter, Sigma Alpha in Miami, Florida, decided to have a competition among graduating male seniors. They were awarding a scholarship. It was part of their scholarship program. So this was the first year. We had 3 high schools. So they brought together all of the graduating male seniors and they administered this examination. I didn't win the contest. They only had 1 prize. I came in 2nd place. But I learned that many of the men who were administering examination were some of my high school teachers. So that's how I became familiar with the fraternity, and I think it had a lot of influence on when I arrived at college that I decided whenever I pledged, if ever, that I would pledge Omega, because I was influenced by these men. My homeroom teacher, my biology teacher, all were men that I respected and I liked while I was in high school. Okay, let me start with probably the most admired of the men of Omega that I met was Dr. Benjamin Mays. Every year he came to our campus as a speaker. We held what was called convocation every month on the campus, and a speaker of renown would come and talk to the students. And of course, I remember the first time Dr. Mays came to the campus, I was a pledgee. And we in the Pledge Club carried on every Wednesday of every week. We carried an outline of the lamp that's on the shield. It was made out of wood. And on the back side of that lamp was a roster of all of the undergraduate brothers. I'm still a lamp now, I'm a pledgee. All of the big brothers, undergraduate as well as graduate. And if a brother came to the campus, it was an obligation that you had to get his signature on your list. And of course, I went to Dr. Mays and told him who I was and requested his signature, which he politely gave to me and gave me a lot of encouragement, etc. So he was perhaps the most renowned that I met. Now, the founders, I have met 2 founders. Brother Love, who came to California in the early 60s, and then I met him again at a conclave in 1968 in Charlotte, North Carolina. And the other one was Brother Cooper, the medical doctor. Brother Coleman was still alive, but his health was sort of going downhill. But those are the 2 founders that I met. As an undergraduate, there's a certain sense of brotherhood that doesn't always exist in graduate chapters. Remember, we're young people. You know, we like to compete athletically, and even with some of the females, with some of the other fraternities. Now, we had a marching song, which incidentally is in the history book of the fraternity. I don't know if it's in the current history, but certainly the one that I was given when I was initiated, the original history, written by Brother Dreer and his committee, has the marching song. And we used to sing that, and it goes like this. Men of Omega, we're marching on. Men of Omega, we're all for 10,000 strong. Men of Omega, we raise our voices high. For Omega we live, for Omega we give, for Omega Psi-Phi we live and die. Men of Omega, we'll never stop. Men of Omega, we'll fight for right until we drop. Men of Omega, have faith in God on high. For Omega we live, for Omega we give, For Omega Psi Phi, we live and die. We were in a formation, sort of like a military formation. And 2 or 3 brothers up front would carry the shield. And the rest of the brothers would fall in behind the shield. And then we would march in formation, singing this song. And as I indicated, mostly the females would get behind us. And of course, they would march and they would echo some of the things we were saying. So it was a lot of fun. It would usually take place after a chapter meeting, and we would fall out and end the meeting by marching through the main part of the campus, and of course in the area where the females lived, in the female dormitory area, and that's when they would all come out and get behind us. Roland Hayes was an operatic singer. He sang at the Metropolitan Opera House in New York. He was one of the few black singers of that time period. The other one was Marian Anderson. You probably heard of Marian Anderson. They were contemporaries. But he came to the campus to put on a concert. And of course, we had a chance to chat with him. I mentioned Langston Hughes, who was a poet. I have a book at home, a book of poems that he wrote, and I got him to autograph. He gave me this book and he autographed it. Maybe I'll bring that to a meeting one night. Ira D. Reed, who at that time was the president of a college in Pennsylvania. I don't recall, Haverford College in Pennsylvania. Once again, he came to the campus for that purpose. Now those are the 4 that I have some good recollection of, because I had a chance to talk to them and of course listen to advice that they gave me as a student.
What were some of the things that they advised you? Remember some of the things?
Well, many of them felt that we young brothers were the future of the fraternity. I had those same words given to me when I attended my first district meeting in the 9th district. My chapter was in the 9th district, and my chapter elected me as the delegate to a district meeting. And all of those older brothers looked upon we undergraduates. Incidentally, this is important too. We were in a segregated city, Shreveport, Louisiana, where we were not permitted in any of the hotels. So the district meeting was held in the high school. The banquet was in the school cafeteria. The brothers stayed in the homes of people who had signed up. The local chapter had gotten the names of people who had space in their homes where brothers would stay, and when you registered in, when you checked in, they told you where you were going to stay. Now, at that meeting, they had a session for the undergraduates. Today we call it the undergraduate luncheon. It was something similar to that, but it was a discussion. And the question was, what do you envision as the future of the black male college student? And we, off the cuff, we had to make comments on what we felt would be our role, because they looked upon us being the future of the fraternity, because these guys, many of them saying, look, we aren't going to be around in the next 20 or 30 years, and we'd like to know that we're leaving this fraternity in good hands, and we're looking upon you brothers to make sure that the fraternity doesn't die a slow death. Those were the same words that were given to me by the people that I talked about, Dr. Mays, Langston Hughes, all of those people. They felt that the fraternity was, by the way, in those days, the fraternity wasn't that old. When I was initiated, the fraternity was only 39 years old. So you see how far we've come in that period, since in the next 59 years. And they felt that the fraternity had some rough going, getting started, getting off the ground, and then gradually it expanded. And after the war, you see, many of these veterans came back and they became members of the fraternities. So they were saying to us, we want you brothers to learn what the founders had in mind. And we expect you to carry that forward. As I mentioned, scholarship, manhood, all of those things, we expect you to set an example and bring in men into the fraternity who will uphold those same cardinal principles.
This has been a presentation of the Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated Living Video Anthology Project.